Today we're going to work on typing subtopic 1. This comes on slide 16. For now, ignore the pictures and other features. We're just going to focus on writing subtopic 1. We're going to use the structure we learned today, which has the hook, topic sentence, 3 facts with each one having an elaborating detail, and then a concluding sentence. In order to get started, I need to go to slide 9 of my feature article, Google Slides. This is where I'll see my 3 subtopics, and each one has 3 facts. Today I'm only focusing on subtopic 1, so I'm going to think about the types of bikes. I need to decide if I want to start with a hook or a topic sentence. As we learned in the lesson today, both of those are options. I'm going to start with a hook so that I can draw my reader in right away, and then I'll do this topic sentence so they know what they're going to read about. In order to get started, I'm going to go to slide 16 in my feature articles. I'm going to start by really drawing them in with this hook sentence. I'm going to say, going to a bike shop can be like going to a candy store. There are so many choices. That way, they know and they can picture all of the choices they see in a candy store. They can feel that excitement that they might be feeling, and then they can picture what that would be like with bikes. The topic sentence tells them that there's so many types of bikes, and that way it's a clear way for them to see what this is going to be about. After typing this in, I'll press enter and it should automatically tab me over. This is where I'm going to list my first fact with an elaborating detail. I'll go back to slide 9 to see what my first fact is. In my first fact, I talked about the different types of bikes that there are. So when I go into this next part on slide 16, I'm going to make sure to cover those different types. I'm going to have my fact sentence and an elaborating sentence. I'm going to start with the word first as a transition phrase so that my reader knows that they're about to read about my first fact. My paragraph says, first, you need to think about what type of bike you want. You can ride a road bike, a hybrid bike, mountain bike, BMX bike, or fat bike. Now I'm ready for my next paragraph. That's going to have my second fact. I might start this off with second, next, then. I'm going to choose to start with next, but before I do, I need to go back to slide 9 to see what that fact is about. My second fact talks about how different bikes have different types of wheels. I'll need to give that fact along with an elaborating detail. Like I said, I'm going to start with next as my transition phrase because my first one had first. I could use then, second, but I'll choose next. Mine says, next, you need to think about what size bike you will need. It's important to get a bike that fits. Bikes can have different size wheels and different size frames. In this paragraph, you can see that I have my fact and elaborating details. I chose to have 2 sentences in my elaborating details because that's what made the most sense with the information I wanted to include. Next, I'm going to my third fact, so I'll need to go back up to slide 9 and read my third fact in subtopic 1. This one talks about different brakes that bikes might use. So when I go back to slide 16, I'm going to need to write about them. So far, I've used the transition phrases first and next. I could use third, last, after. I'm going to use last so that my reader knows I'm wrapping up this subtopic. I wrote, last you need to decide if you want hand brakes or foot brakes. This is how you will stop. You can also decide if you want gears or no gears. Again, I had my fact 3 sentence first and then elaborating detail sentences. I chose to use 2 sentences here because that's what made the most sense for this extra detail information. The last piece of my subtopic page is to have my conclusion statement. This is where I'm going to wrap up the topic for my reader so that they know what we're reading about. In the lesson, I told you about how you might choose to ask a question, you might encourage your reader to do something, you might even give them an idea. I'm going to tell them if you are still having a hard time choosing, your local bike shop can help you find the perfect bike. That's encouraging them to go to their bike shop and give it a try. Now it's your turn to try.